Good morning and welcome to this week's episode of the Last Night's Game podcast. It's our Wednesday Wisdom edition where we are bringing you insights into something big happening in the world of sports. And right now, that is Major League Baseball. Opening day is around the corner. The boys of summer are back and here to talk all about that farmer's tan that comes along with the boys of summer is my favorite brother, favorite co-host, and favorite co-founder, Scott. Scott, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me on. Excited to talk about America's favorite pastime and how it may have lost that title for a while, but I think it's on the way back up thanks to some rule changes and various things like that. Baseball is on the rise.
Which I think is really interesting, and we'll dive into this as we talk about the world of sports and the pace of game and other things that have baseball has done maybe right, and so we'll talk a little bit more about that. But first, I wanna dive into something, maybe it's out of our regular order, but it's basically lunchtime here, and I'm starving, and you sent me this long list of great foods that are happening in ballparks. And we go to baseball games for, let's be honest, the beer, the peanuts, and the Cracker Jacks. The song even says it. But you also go for the food. And so, talk to me, give me a couple of key things that I want to go visit a stadium and eat.
Absolutely. Major League Baseball has done a good job of creating these weird and wild food offerings that you can get nowhere else other than the stadium to get people to go to the stadium and stay when they're there. I mean, some of these are pretty phenomenal, the things they're offering this year. Probably my favorite one, we have the Giants and the Pirates offering a 98-ounce bat of popcorn. So it's a massive bat filled with popcorn, which I'm sure at some point will be used to hit someone with.
I was just going to say this one thing.
I just pictured maybe your child getting a 98-ounce popcorn bat and hitting me probably.
It's probably what Uncle is good for. First
Yes.
of all, is the 98 ounces of popcorn not going to be stale? That's
They did
very
not, it does not say guaranteed freshness.
okay.
So
There,
we
that's
cannot confirm nor deny the saleability of these popcorns.
And yes, I'm intrigued that this how long do these bats last before someone that they get rid of them because someone whacked their neighbor or someone they're fighting with from the opposing team?
Yes. I mean, once you eat the popcorn, you could probably fill 98 ounces of beer in there as well.
That's very Vegas of you.
Very Vegas. You have to get creative sometimes. You're sitting there for a few hours, get some, or seltzers, I guess, 98 ounces of seltzers. And I mean, popcorn, that gets me to the ballpark. I'll tell you that much.
I've got one that may or may not get will not get you to the ballpark,
Mm.
but, others, the, Houston Astros are rolling out the Daddy Mac dog, the beef hot dog, brisket, mac and cheese, barbecue sauce, and a crispy dill all with a crispy dill pickle for the nice price of 15.79.
Honestly, that's not that bad for
It's not
all
really
those. You're basically getting every food group imaginable in there, various different beefs,
as you love.
chopped brisket, hot dog, put some mac and cheese on there and a pickle. I mean,
I mean, what else could anyone want? I still think about do you remember going to, Giant Stadium, San Francisco Giants? We went for the All-Star game. I've been there a couple times when I for work. They have the garlic fries, and the whole
mhm.
stadium smells like garlic, and it's fantastic. That might be one of my most notable things I've had. Dodger dog, I'm not a big hot dog bun person, so
Yeah.
Dodger dog didn't really do it for me. Do you have anything memorable you've had at a stadium?
Yes, do you think they pump in like garlic smells?
Possibly.
The Disney World ride we went on, what's it called?
Flying over
The
the
flying and they pump
world
in
and
the
it's smelling like the
smells.
roses.
I mean, that might get players to sign there. You smell garlic all game.
Not if you're a vampire.
Not if you're a vampire. Back to your question about food. Let's see. I've had a few veggie dogs at some of the parks. The veggie Dodger dog wasn't terrible. Go. That's probably the most ringing endorsement. Seattle Mariners, they have Din Tai Fung in their stadium. Although
Now I
I
uh,
was there for a hockey game, but they do sell it for baseball games. And we
reason to go
had
to Seattle. That was
yes.
not there when we went.
No, it was not. No. So Din Tai Fung, I guess, would also be a good reason to go to a baseball game.
Mhm.
And I think they usually have the crickets as well that you can eat there.
That's okay,
Mhm.
high on my list, Din Tai Fung. Maybe if you put the crickets in a little dumpling pouch,
No one would even notice.
you might be okay with that.
Yeah, so all good reasons to go to games.
I mean, good reasons to show up to a game. Another reason we might show up to a game is they are faster than they used to be. Baseball games are notoriously long. It's a long game. It's a very long season, 162 games. They're called the Boys of Summer because it stretches this. It's the only sport that really stretches men's professional sport that stretches
Mhm.
the span of the summer, hence the Boys of Summer. And so, talk to me a little bit about what we can expect this season, besides maybe an additional or less time with our butts in our seats to eat our 98-ounce popcorn.
Yeah, you're gonna have to eat fast to consume that whole thing during a game. Last year was the first year they instituted a pitch clock, which is kind of like a shot clock in basketball. You only have so much time in between pitches to get ready. You can't stand there and walk around the mound, and batters can't walk around and waste time. So it's good to go. It speeds up the pace of play, which a lot of people hated last year when it first started. But then, around August, everyone kind of came around that it was a good thing for the game. We're not wasting time. Kids can stay engaged in the game. Our TikTok society that only can pay attention for 20, 30 seconds.
Myself included.
Yeah, yourself included. Like, so they also limited mound visits. They limited times you can try to pick someone off. Pace of play was a huge initiative last year, and it paid off in massive numbers, actually, that I don't think we actually would even think about. This is the highest attendance in 7 years. And the demographic actually is getting 18 to 35 saw almost a 9% increase in attendance, that's huge for that
Yeah.
demographic. Because as you think, like, baseball is more of an older person's game, but if you can get 18-year-olds in there and games are 2 hours, I mean, that's massive for the game. So
They tend to be cheaper, right? A baseball game, the ticket because there's so many games, they tend to be a cheaper ticket, so it's more accessible, and there's things too, like, you've grown up playing baseball, it's very accessible, just like soccer, and so it's a game most people kind of have a concept of. Go hang out, like, we can sit and talk and drink a beer and watch a game, and in theory, you can spend a decent amount of money, not a lot amount of money compared to, a basketball game or a football game or Disneyland, as we've determined in this past couple of weeks too.
yes, yeah, I mean, an NFL game, you're probably not getting out of there under $1,000 for tickets if you take your family. You
Right.
could probably go to you know, a midweek game for 25, $30 per ticket,
Mhm.
and then get one 98-ounce bat of popcorn, and you're set.
Cool, and there you go. Well,
Yeah.
it's interesting, so when I worked, for the Diamondbacks, so this was
Mhm.
not a long time ago, but they implemented this thing called the Commissioner's Initiative for Kids, and I looked it up, and it appears it still is happening, but essentially what they would do is the organizations would sell a ticket the teams would sell a ticket to an organization for a dollar. So let's say I'm Boys and Girls Club, I buy 500 tickets for $500. The organization can then turn around and sell them for whatever they want,
Mhm.
and it's, 10 bucks a ticket or whatever. It's a fundraiser for them. But on the attendance side, it was paid attendance. So, they keep track of
Yeah.
attendance, and that was paid attendance. So it was really a smart move. And this was why am I blanking on the commissioner before Manfred? Hang on,
Well,
glasses. It'll come to me at some
I know
point.
I'll remember halfway through, so if I interrupt you.
Yes, but I mean, it was kind of actually a really smart move because
Mhm.
that was I feel like baseball's kind of been on a, downward trajectory in terms of popularity because, like you said, it's longer.
Um,
It's all those things where you're just losing that attention span when a basketball game or football game is so much quicker and things happening. And so it was a really interesting investment of that's increasing. I think it was like 1,000,000 tickets that went out
mhm.
that bumped that attendance number, that paid attendance number.
Yeah, I mean, it's genius. You sit there and you watch these empty stadiums. Why can't they? You need to get people in the stadium to
Buy the
they, buy. Everyone has social media. Everyone will post. Like, just get people in the stadium has always been the issue. So, I mean, that's very smart.
and if you're getting kids in there, then they turn into 18 to 35-year-old fans
Yes.
who then have this love for this team and the love for the game, and so it's a really
Mhm.
smart thought process, and you and I have talked a lot about this, about stadiums we walk into, and it's like, why are the upper deck tickets where no one is here $20 a piece?
Exactly. Yes, and it's
There was somebody up the top that they get to experience the game and be confident in your product, that they go buy a beer or a water, and they spend a little bit of money, they spend a little bit of money on tickets, but they might come back, and you might know them,
exactly
and you might
the repeat customer. Yes,
yeah.
and they see Shohei Ohtani hit a home run and they're sold on baseball. Like, that's That's really what it's all about, and that's why I think it was America's pastime, and it got away from that for quite a while.
Yeah. I'm intrigued. So you're talking about speeding up the game. We have those processes in place this season again. There was conversation around like an automatic robot pitch strike situation,
Yes.
pitch strike ball situation. What's happened with that?
Yeah, so the automatic there's been talk of robot umps forever. We're not going to have it probably anytime soon. But what they did institute, minor leagues have been doing it for a long time. They put it in for spring training is the automatic challenge, which, as you know, baseball, if there's a ball and strike and the manager doesn't agree, he can go out there and argue for 30 minutes and delay the game. And, that throws the pace of play off forever. So this is very simple. Only the pitcher, batter, or catcher can initiate the challenge. All they do is they step off the mound, step off or step out of the batter's box and just tap their helmet. And it goes through automatic review. And then the umpire gets the result, and that's the call.
Interesting.
So it's not like football where you challenge a call and everyone has to get together. They go look in a little monitor. It takes 20 minutes, and
Mhm.
and everyone just loses interest. It's quick. It's really efficient. I've seen it done in a minor league game. Like you barely know it's even happening, and it's kind of fun because they'll put on the scoreboard like challenge, and everyone's anticipating it build up. So it's really efficient. It takes a lot of the nonsense out of the game, and it works really well. It's in spring training. I don't think it won't be here this year, but I assure you next year it will be there.
I hope so. Well, it also takes out the bias from the umpire if he doesn't like the pitcher or the
Exactly.
batter or something. Just all those things, which you could say, argue that that's you know um, diluting and taking the personality out of the game.
Yes.
But also, it makes it more fair, which is
Yeah.
all.
And that actually, if you don't mind, I'm going to go on a little tangent here. I was
Do
watching
it.
a interview with Justin Verlander, who's I think he's in his 40s, early 40s. He's Kate Upton's husband, the swimsuit model, and he was talking about how they used to get favoritism from umpires because they're veteran pitchers. Like if they think it's a strike, they're going to call it a strike because these guys have been around forever. Like the Greg Maddoxes of the world back in the day, they would get favoritism,
Yeah.
and he was kind of joking, but not joking that that's gone now because we have systems like this where umpires are getting graded on balls and strikes, and now eventually we might have this challenge system where the challenge system doesn't necessarily care that Justin Verlander's won World Series and Cy Youngs and has been in the league for 20 years. So,
No,
and
it's
yeah, it takes away the favoritism. So pitchers won't like that, but that's okay.
that's okay.
And batters too, I guess. I mean, there's certain batters, if they don't swing at a pitch, the
True.
umpire just assumes it's a ball. So both ways.
Yeah, I guess it's very, very true. I guess talk to me a little bit about I know we have players like Shohei Ohtani,
Mhm.
Juan Soto, who are all coming back this year. Bryce Harper, was it Bryce Harper? Bryce Harper is the one I think doing something with a protein company I was just noticing. Remember that video you showed me of him like making a new nutrition shake? It was like his
Yes.
Instagram, and it was like, and now I get the coconut water, and he needed a little tips from some
Need a
18-year
little more personality at times, yes.
little bit. But we have some big names coming back, and I mean,
Mhm.
that's a huge piece of this conversation, right? Is to be able to kind of know the names, know who to watch when you see something happen. So talk to me about a few of the players we should keep an eye on.
I mean, the biggest name obviously in baseball and almost all of sports is Shohei Ohtani. They just went to Japan. They opened the season in Japan. That's where he's from. Was a few of his previous teammates in Japan now play for the Dodgers. So the Dodgers have really embraced that Japanese connection, and they're kind of probably Japan's national team at this point. They sold out Tokyo Dome. I read that Fanatics had a record retail sales for the series, like $40 million. It's an
Can I jump in real quick? I was gonna say, just for everybody who doesn't know, the Cubs and the Dodgers had a two-game
yes,
series in the Tokyo Dome in Japan last week, and they technically opened the season in Japan last
yes,
week, even though opening day is the 28th.
yeah. So they opened while other teams are still playing spring training. He hit a home run, so obviously Japanese fans are excited. Slated to be a pitcher and hitter in the field, but he's still not pitching yet after he had elbow surgery after last season, 2 seasons ago. So he hasn't pitched almost in a season and a half at this point, but he can at some point. obviously the biggest draw. Then we had, you mentioned Juan Soto, who signed the biggest deal in baseball history. Or was it North American sports history too?
It may have been. Yeah.
15 years, $765 million with the Mets. So, Mets fans, Steve Cohen was a Mets fan, made billions of dollars in the stock market, and bought the Mets as a fan. And he's kind of been running it like a fan, just spending money like crazy. So, Juan Soto's now in the Mets. He led the Yankees to the World Series last year when they lost, obviously, to Dodgers. So he'll be out there in the outfield or DHing, designated hitter. And I think you need these New York teams to be good, to be relevant for baseball to be successful. And then we have Aaron Jones,
Aaron
not
Judge.
Aaron Judge, excuse me. See, they need to do a better job. Aaron Judge with the Yankees, larger than life, massive human being, but he's one of the faces of baseball, broke the home run record 2 seasons ago. So if New York's relevant, baseball is relevant, ratings go up.
The Dodgers too, right? I mean, look at
Yes, absolutely.
Mookie Betts, who he just has a personality to me because he's the one who always doesn't like to stay in the haunted hotels.
Yes.
But he plays for the Dodgers, who are obviously the defending champions.
Mhm.
We have Shohei on the Dodgers. So you've really got this coastal rivalry that's built back up to these kind of
Yes.
open teams that we haven't, it's sort of been elevating the past couple of years. So it'll be neat
Mhm.
to see that. Speaking of stadiums, Tokyo Dome and all these things, we have two teams that are playing in minor league stadiums this year due to one unforeseen circumstances, one was planned. But who's got a new house?
I'm sure the commissioner's not thrilled that we have two. So we have two MLB teams that will be playing in minor league team stadiums this year. Oakland Athletics, formerly Oakland Athletics, now Sacramento Athletics, I guess it'd be called now. They will be playing. Their lease ran out on their stadium in Oakland. They had to move somewhere before they supposedly moved to Vegas in 2028. So they relocated to Sacramento and their minor league stadium, which we'll see. Assume that's not going to be great for a lot of signing free agents per se.
That's true.
Having to play in a minor league stadium, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of complaints by Major League Baseball players going to the stadium.
That's true. Maybe they've done some I'm sure they've done some renovations.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's a stadium of what, 10, maybe 12,000 people, maybe?
They've probably had to try to increase that. I'm
Probably.
not sure the exact number, but yeah, it's going to have to be higher than usual. So we have Oakland/Vegas Athletics playing in Sacramento, and then unforeseen circumstance, we did not see the Tampa Bay Rays stadium was destroyed by the hurricane,
Mhm.
and there's no way they can play there. I don't know when it'll be finished, if it ever gets finished, because there's rumors of a new stadium. So they're actually going to be playing in the Yankees minor league spring training facility.
Yeah, that'll be really interesting, like you said. And that's also it's inconvenient 'cause I think the Yankees no, that's the Dodgers are in Vero Beach, but it's not
I think they might be in Tampa, give or somewhere in that region.
Tampa area, but
Yeah.
it's still just not as convenient. You've got the whole system mapped out in
Yes.
Tampa Bay. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how these teams tune there. We're getting close to our time. And so I want to talk, I guess, let me know, where do you want to go with this? I'm gonna let you pick because you're the brain on this. I mean, we've got Joe Buck returning, we've got
Mhm.
broadcasting blowing up. What do we have going on there, maybe?
We'll finish on Joe Buck. How's that sound?
Yeah.
One thing we need to look at, kind of something that's going away that we grew up as with children throughout my lifetime, is so last year for Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN, ESPN and MLB have ended their long-term relationship with broadcasting. So after this year, ESPN's getting out of the baseball game and they're going to move on. And Sunday Night Baseball was always a staple growing up. You've got, the marquee game of the weekend on Sunday night, and it's kind of sad, to be honest. But so we get to enjoy it for one more year. So really cherish it.
There's your Sunday nights. Okay.
Yes. And who knows where it'll go? Probably go to Netflix or something. So who knows? But for now, it's on ESPN for one last year.
Wow, that'll be interesting to see that. Like you said, that's a staple. It's something we've been so used to. A Sunday night game is a big game of the week. That ESPN's moving on, I guess, to another summer sport. I'm assuming.
Yeah. And I'm floating a conspiracy that they're probably going all in on WNBA, and they'd rather focus on that during the summer because that's really the only other sport that is during the summer. And that's, as we've discussed so many times, just ascending in ratings.
Well, maybe so because I think if I remember correctly, ESPN is breaking up with F1 as well,
Yes, so
and
ESPN's
F1
getting out of
is a summer sport too. So that'll be interesting to see the money they free up where they're going to put it.
got to go somewhere.
Got to go somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay, and then wrap us up with a bow. We're going to tie football season, NFL season, and baseball season together with good old Joe Buck.
Yes, we are. Monday night football and baseball are coming back together. Joe Buck was forever a longtime broadcaster for Fox. He left Fox for a massive deal with ESPN to strictly call Monday night football games. He's been out of calling baseball for a very long time, but he is coming back to call baseball for opening day.
Okay, and Joe
So,
Buck's dad was a
yes.
legendary broadcaster. And if you haven't listened to the Smartless podcast with Joe Buck, where he talks about getting his hair implants, it's pretty interesting.
And sad as well, right? Like
He
he got
lost
severely sick and lost like his vocal cords and
Yes, it
everything.
was his vocal
Yes.
cords, and I'm not sure if that was his hair implants, though.
It was rumored to be the hair
Okay,
implants.
okay, well, he must have not gone to Turkey where everyone apparently goes for hair implants, so
That's the place to go. Yes.
ways to go. Well, I mean, I
Yes.
can't think of a better way to tie this podcast up with a bow than turkey, hair implants, and baseball opening day. Tune in. Baseball happens starting on Thursday, March 28th. It will be a great season ahead, full of all kinds of things. Follow us on social at Last Night's Game for all the insights into what's happening in the world of sports. We're going to do some insights into some of the players and some of the things we talked about a little bit further today. Scott, thank you for joining us. And of course, if you love it, what you hear today, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Thanks, Scott, for being here.
Play ball.
Play ball.